In this video, we will create a conductor score from a standard two-staff SA-TB score using the System Manager and related tools. In our previous videos, we split two note clusters into separate contrapuntal voices, then transposed the key up a whole step. Now that we've successfully created a proper SA-TB score with sopranos and altos in the treble clef staff and tenors and baritones in the bass clef staff, we can go further and assign each voice to a unique staff or part. We start by pushing the System Manager button in the Navigator palette. This window tells us how to create new parts, which is what we will do right now. Notice that the controlling system is the current or active system. To add or remove parts, we need to change the controlling system to Super System, which represents all possible parts in the score, whether they're visible or not. Clicking on a part and selecting Insert below adds an empty staff and a new part to the score. We reselect Super System and repeat with the base staff. This leaves us with 4 distinct parts or staff lines. The newly created parts need to be assigned a key signature. That's done by copying and pasting the key signature. We could use the Unify Key and Time Signature function just as easily. It's important to note at this point that any symbol in the score can be selected by holding down the Control button and clicking on any object, whether it's a key signature, a note, a rest, or whatever. We call that Quick Select. Now we can start the process of removing the lower voice from each existing staff line and pasting each of them into their newly created parts or staves. Using the Selector tool, again activated by the O key, highlight just the secondary voice shown in red, then use Ctrl-X to cut it out. Repositioning the cursor at the beginning of the newly created part, use Ctrl-V to paste in the voice. Repeat this action on the red secondary voice in the bass clef and paste it into its respective staff line. Now we have the soprano, alto, tenor, and bass parts arranged as a conductor score. Let's adjust staff spacing and page margins to give it a polished look, like that of a professionally engraved score. Let's close the image pane by simply grabbing the window shade bar and moving it upward, since SmartScore's ENF pane and the image pane in yellow are no longer in sync. The size of the SmartScore ENF file matches exactly that of the scanned image. Since the original scan is smaller than the default page size of 8.5 by 11 inches, you want the music to be centered nicely on each page. This is done in the page setup environment. After that, we'll adjust staff spacing. Push the Setup button in the Navigator or from the Edit menu. In the Page Margin pull-down menu, change From Recognition to Center on Page and push OK. The music is now centered on standard 8.5 by 11 pages, but we're not ready to print yet. We want to adjust the spacing of just one system and then apply that look to all remaining systems. First, we'll pull the header tab that looks like a sideways T up to where you want the top to be. Then in the same system, we'll adjust the red tabs to widen or narrow the distance between the staff lines. Once we're satisfied with how this system looks, select the Properties tool at the far left of the bottom toolbar. Then right-click anywhere in the system to bring up Score Properties and select Line and Staff Spacing. Pushing the Copy button will cause every other system in the score to inherit the exact spacing of that system. Push the Preview button to view how the page will look when printed. We see that the bottom margin needs to be extended so that there will be room for 3 systems to appear on each page. Returning to the main view, we'll still need to make a few more spacing adjustments until we are satisfied with the final look of our score. There you have it, a fully formatted and finished conductor score that started out as a simple hymnal written for piano.